I was sitting in a meeting room. Across from me were two men. From a private equity firm, I was making them an offer. "I want to buy an $18 million company," I said. "Whose company?" they asked. "My father's," I said. "Why is he selling?" they asked. "He's not," I said. "Not yet, but he will. Because I'm going to make him an offer he'll accept. He wants to retire. He was going to give it to my brother. But I'm going to move first." "Your brother's?" they asked. "Yes," I said. "So you'll run it together?" And they said, "No," I said. "I'll run it. Alone." "What about your brother?" they asked. "I'll fire him," I said. "Your father too?" "First day." "Both of them." They were quiet. They looked at me. Then they asked, "Why are you doing this?" I said one sentence. When they heard that sentence, we made a deal. We signed papers. 1 week later, I owned the company. My first action was firing them. Exactly as I planned. My name is Ethan Graves. I'm 33 years old. I waited 5 years. Then I took the company. From my father. From my brother. Legally. And the sentence I said changed everything. My name is Ethan Graves. I'm 33 years old. But this story starts 5 years ago, when I was 28. I work at Graves Manufacturing Family Business, founded by my grandfather in 1972. He started small, machine parts, industrial components. Built it slowly over 30 years. When he died in 2002, the company went to my father, Richard Graves. My father was CEO. The company did $20 million in annual revenue, not huge but stable, profitable, good margins, 50 employees, 2 facilities, solid client base. I joined the company right out of college, business degree from Ohio State, nothing fancy. I started in operations, learning the floor, understanding production. My father believed in working your way up. My brother Cameron joined 2 years later. He was older than me, 30 years old when he started. He'd spent time in sales at another company. Father made him head of sales immediately. Cameron was the golden child, always had been. Good-looking, charismatic, father's favorite. Everyone could see it. At family dinners, father would talk about Cameron's achievements, his sales numbers, his client relationships. When he talked about me, it was different. "Ethan's doing fine in operations. Solid work, nothing special." That was the phrase. Nothing special. I didn't complain. Just worked. Learned everything: production schedules, supply chains, quality control, vendor relationships, cost structures. I became good at operations. Very good. The floor managers respected me. I solved problems, streamlined processes, reduced waste. After 3 years, father promoted me to operations manager. Cameron got promoted to VP of sales the same year. We were both 26 and 31, but the titles weren't equal. VP outranked manager. Father made that clear. 2 years later, father created a new position, chief operating officer. Everyone assumed I'd get it. I ran operations. It made sense. Father called a company meeting, announced that Cameron was the new COO. I'd report to him. I stood there listening. Didn't react, just nodded. Congratulated Cameron. Shook his hand. That night, I couldn't sleep. Sat in my apartment, thought about everything. I'd worked harder than Cameron, learned more, improved more systems, but none of it mattered, because Cameron was the favorite. Always would be. The next morning, I went to work early. Found father in his office. "We need to talk," I said. He looked up from his computer. "About what?" "About my future here." "Ethan, you have a future. You're operations manager. That's an important role. But Cameron's COO. He's younger in the company, started later, yet he's 2 levels above me now. Your brother has leadership qualities. He connects with people, builds relationships, and I don't? You're good at systems, Ethan. Back-end stuff. Important, but not front-facing. Cameron's a people person. When I retire, he'll take over as CEO. I felt something cold settle in my chest. So I'll never be CEO. This is a family business. It stays with the oldest son. That's how it works. That's how my father did it. Gave it to me, not my younger brother, even though Uncle Tom wanted it. What if I'm better at running it than Cameron? You're not. You're good at operations. Cameron understands the whole business, sales, strategy, vision. He'll be CEO when I retire. Probably in 5 years you'll stay as operations manager, or maybe COO if Cameron wants to promote you. But the company goes to him. I stood up, understood. I walked out, went to my office, closed the door, sat at my desk. I wasn't angry. I was clear, crystal clear. My father had just told me my ceiling. No matter how hard I worked, how much I improved the company, how good I became, I'd always be second. Always be Cameron's subordinate. Because I was born second. That day I made a decision. If I couldn't inherit the company, I'd take it. Not someday. Not through waiting, through action, through strategy. I'd take it away from both of them. And they wouldn't see it coming. That night, I started planning. I had 5 years. 5 years before Father retired. 5 years before Cameron took over. 5 years to prepare. I started researching. Corporate buyouts, leveraged acquisitions, private equity deals, management buyouts. I read everything: books, articles, case studies, learned how companies changed hands, how employees became owners, how families lost businesses. I learned about financing, how to structure deals, what private equity firms looked for, what made a company attractive for acquisition. Graves Manufacturing was perfect stable revenue, good margins, loyal customers, minimal debt. Exactly what PE firms wanted. All it needed was the right buyer. Someone who understood the business, someone who could run it, someone like me. Over the next 5 years, I executed my plan. First, I made myself indispensable. Not just good, indispensable. I took over every system, every process, every vendor relationship. When suppliers called, they asked for me. When production issues arose, I fixed them. I documented nothing, kept everything in my head. Made myself the only person who truly understood how things worked. I also befriended our accountant, Martha. She'd been with the company 15 years, trusted, professional. She gave me access to financial reports, showed me profit margins, cost structures, revenue breakdowns. She thought I was just interested in learning the business. I was, but not for the reasons she thought. I learned that Father paid himself and Cameron very well. $300,000 each. I made $90,000. The company could afford higher salaries because we were profitable, but most profit stayed in the company. Building reserves. Over 10 years, we'd accumulated $8 million in retained earnings. That money sat in accounts, drawing minimal interest. Father called it security. I called it opportunity. I also started networking. Quietly went to business conferences, industry events, made connections with people in private equity, venture capital, investment banking, casual conversations, building relationships, learning who did manufacturing deals, who had capital, who was looking for opportunities. I never mentioned my company specifically, just asked questions, learned, prepared. By year 3, I had a target, Ridgemont Partners, mid-sized private equity firm. They specialized in manufacturing buyouts. Their sweet spot was $10 to $30 million companies. Perfect. I met their associate at a conference. Started a conversation. We stayed in touch, had coffee a few times when he was in Columbus. Talked about the industry, challenges, opportunities, never pushed. Just built rapport. In year 4, I made my move. I arranged a meeting. Presented a theoretical scenario. Manufacturing company, 20 million revenue, good margins, strong fundamentals. Owner wanting to retire could be acquired for the right price. How would you structure that? The associate was interested. Walked me through the process. Typical valuation would be 4 to 6 times EBITDA earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. Our EBITDA was approximately $3 million. So valuation range was 12 to 18 million, and they'd want to put down 20 to 30%. Finance the rest through loans. but they'd need management continuity. Someone who knew the business, who could run it post-acquisition. I told them I knew someone. An operations manager, Oz, 28 years old, had run the company's operations for 5 years, knew every system, had employee loyalty, could step into CEO role immediately. They asked if this person would be interested in a partnership, a management buyout, where the operator had equity. I said yes. Very interested. We discussed structures. They'd put up capital. I'd run the company, we'd split ownership. Them 60%. Me, 40%. After 5 years, I could buy them out. Become full owner. They wanted to meet the company, see financials. Do due diligence. Not yet, I said. The timing isn't right. Owner isn't ready to sell, doesn't know he's going to sell. But he will soon. When he does, I'll bring you the opportunity. They agreed to wait. Gave me a contact. Said when I was ready to reach out. That was 4 years into my 5-year plan. The final year, I spent preparing for execution. I had everything I needed. The PE firm ready to fund. My knowledge of the business complete, my indispensability established. Father was starting to talk about retirement. He was 62. Tired. Mentioned wanting to slow down, spend time with mother, travel. He was grooming Cameron, having him attend board meetings, make strategic decisions. Father was planning to retire at 63, 1 more year. I could see the timeline. In 12 months, Cameron would be CEO. I'd be stuck as operations manager. Forever. Unless I moved first, 6 months before Father's planned retirement, I executed. I called Bridgemont, told them I was ready, set up a meeting. They asked for financials. I provided everything. The reports Martha had shared. Profit and loss statements, balance sheets, asset lists. They did their analysis. Came back with a valuation $16.5 million for the company. They'd put up $5 million cash. Finance $11.5 through loans. They wanted me to stay as CEO salary of $200,000, 40% equity, buyout option in 5 years. I agreed to everything. Then I had to approach Father. This was delicate. I needed him to say yes. Needed him to think it was his idea, his choice, not me taking anything. Just him making a smart business decision. I chose my moment carefully. Friday afternoon, end of the week, Father was in his office. Tired, I knocked. Came in, sat down. Father, I need to talk to you about something. What is it? I've been thinking about the future, the company, your retirement. What about it? You've built something great here, 40 years of work. But I'm worried about succession. Cameron's great at sales, but operations is complex. Running the whole company is different than running sales. Cameron will be fine. He'll have you helping for a while. But what if there's another option? What option? Selling. Father looked up sharply. Sell the company? This is a family business. I know. But hear me out. You're 62. You want to retire? Cameron would run things, but he's never been CEO. There's risk. What if instead you sold now, got full value, retired comfortably? Let someone else take the risk. Who would buy it? I've been approached by a private equity firm, Bridgemont Partners. They specialize in manufacturing. They've expressed interest. How much? $16.5 million. Father went quiet. That was a significant number. More than he'd expected. Why would they pay that much? Because the company's well-run, profitable, stable. They see growth potential, and they'd want to keep me on. As CEO? To provide continuity. You? Yes. I know the operations better than anyone. They want operational expertise. Father leaned back, thinking, what about Cameron? He'd get his share of the sale. You'd split the proceeds. He could do whatever he wanted with the money. Start something new. Join another company. He'd have options. Father was considering it. I could see the wheels turning. $16.5 million. Split with Cameron. Over $8 million each after taxes. He could retire wealthy, travel, enjoy life. No stress of transitioning the company, no risk of Cameron failing. Just clean exit. Let me think about it, he said. Take your time, I said. The offer stands whenever you're ready. Over the next 2 weeks, Father discussed it with Mother, with his lawyer, with his accountant Martha. They all said the same thing. The offer was good, fair market value, maybe even generous. It made financial sense. Finally, Father called me into his office. All right, let's do it. You're sure? I'm 62, Ethan. I've been doing this for 40 years. 16.5 million is more than I ever thought this company would be worth. Cameron will understand it's the smart play. We'll both be set. You'll run things. Everyone wins. We shook hands. I'll arrange the meetings, I said. Get the paperwork started. That week, I introduced Father to Bridgemont. They conducted due diligence, reviewed everything, confirmed their offer. Father's lawyer drew up the sale agreement. 4 weeks later, we closed. Father received 16.5 million. Bridgemont owned 60% of the company. I owned 40% and became CEO. It was done. Cameron found out after the papers were signed. Father called him into the office, told him the company had been sold, that Ethan would be running it. Cameron was shocked, but this was supposed to be mine. You were going to give it to me. Plans changed, son. This was better for everyone. You're getting over 8 million after taxes. That's generational wealth. You can do anything you want. But I wanted to run the company. Cameron, I'm sorry, but Ethan knows operations. He was the logical choice to stay on. The buyers wanted him. That's why the valuation was so high. Cameron looked at me, standing there beside Father's CEO of the company he thought would be his. His face was a mixture of betrayal and rage. You planned this, he said. You went behind my back. I saw an opportunity, I said calmly. Took it. That's business. You stole my company. It wasn't your company yet, and now it never will be. He left the office, didn't say goodbye to Father, didn't attend the closing dinner, just took his money and disappeared. Father retired 2 weeks later, moved to Florida with Mother, lived on the beach, enjoyed his 16 million. Before he left, I had one final conversation with him in his empty office. Boxes packed. You did well, son, he said. I underestimated you. Yes, you did. I'm proud that you'll be running things. You should have been proud 28 years ago. What? When I was born, second son? You decided then I wasn't worth the company. Because I wasn't first. That's just how it's done, Ethan. Oldest son inherits. That's tradition. Tradition cost you the company. You could have groomed me, trained me, made me CEO. Instead, you picked Cameron because of birth order. So I took what you wouldn't give. Father looked at me quietly. I see that now. Too late, though. Yes, too late. He left the next day. I never spoke to him again. After the acquisition closed, I had complete control. Cameron was gone. Father was gone. I was CEO, 40% owner. Bridgemont owned 60, but they were silent partners. They wanted returns, not involvement. I ran everything. First order of business was restructuring. Cameron had hired his friends in sales. They were overpaid, underperforming. Loyal to him, not the company. I fired all of them. 5 people. Replaced them with hungry young talent. People who wanted to prove themselves. Second, I renegotiated contracts. Our vendors had been coasting. Comfortable relationships. Prices crept up over years. No one questioned it. I put everything out for competitive bid. Reduced supply costs by 18%. Third, I invested in automation. Father had resisted. Too expensive, he'd say. But I ran the numbers. Payback period was 2 years. After that, pure margin improvement. I bought 3 new CNC machines. Automated quality control, reduced labor costs, increased precision. The first year was intense. 16-hour days, 7 days a week. Rebuilding everything. The employees who stayed were nervous. New CEO, new direction. I held an all-hands meeting, explained my vision. We're going to grow. Double revenue in 5 years. But we're doing it through efficiency and quality, not shortcuts. Anyone who's here to work hard will be rewarded. Anyone who's here to coast can leave now. No one left. They saw I was serious, saw I was betting on myself. They wanted to be part of it. By end of year one, we hit 23 million in revenue. Up from 20 million profit margins improved from 15% to 19%. Bridgemont was thrilled. They'd expected modest growth. We were exceeding projections. I was building something Father and Cameron never could have built, because they cared about tradition, status, family legacy. I cared about results. 3 years into my tenure, something happened. I was at an industry conference in Chicago, walking through the expo hall, saw someone familiar, Cameron. My brother. I hadn't seen him in 3 years. Not since he left the company. He looked different, thinner, tired. He saw me, walked over. Ethan. Cameron, how are you? He shrugged. Getting by. What are you doing here? Working for Jensen Manufacturing. Sales position. I'd heard through contacts he'd burned through most of his money, bad investments. Expensive lifestyle. Now he was working for a competitor, making maybe 100,000, fraction of what he'd expected to have. I heard about Graves, he said. Heard you doubled revenue, hit 40 million last year. Yes, doing well. Must feel good. Taking what was mine, it was never yours. Father promised it to me. Father made a lot of promises, to both of us. He told me I'd never be CEO, because I was born second, that my ceiling was operations manager. So I took my future into my own hands. By stealing the company, I bought it, legally, fair price. Father agreed. You manipulated him. I showed him opportunity. He chose it. Cameron's face darkened. You were always jealous. Of me. Of the fact Father loved me more. I wasn't jealous. I was underestimated. There's a difference. You think you won. You think you beat me? I did beat you, Cameron. I own the company, you work for Jensen. Making a salary, in a rental. While I have equity worth 30 million now. Company valuation hit 75 million this year. My 40% is worth 30 million. Father's 63, healthy, probably lives another 20 years. By the time he dies, your inheritance will be maybe 4 million after mother's care. After taxes, I'll be worth hundreds of millions. So yes, I won. He stared at me. Hatred clear on his face. I should have seen it coming. Should have stopped you. You couldn't have, because you don't think like me. You assumed you'd get everything because Father promised. I assumed I'd get nothing unless I took it. That's the difference between us. I walked away, left him standing there, went back to my hotel, called my assistant, scheduled meetings for the next day. Didn't think about Cameron again. He was the past. I was the future. 5 years after acquiring Graves Manufacturing, I exercised my buyout option. Company valuation was now 85 million. My contract said I could buy Bridgemont's 60% at fair market value, $51 million. I'd built that value. I deserved full ownership. I structured a new deal, borrowed 40 million from banks. Used 10 million of my own money from dividends and salary. 1 million went to legal and closing costs. I bought them out. Became sole owner. $85 million company. All mine. No partners, no board. Just me. I was 33 years old. Self-made. Built from nothing. Father heard about it. Called me. First time in 5 years, that's impressive, son. Thank you. You've done well. Better than I did. Yes. Better than Cameron would have. Much better. Father was quiet. Then he said I was wrong about you. Yes, you were. I'm sorry. Are you? Really? Because your apology doesn't change anything. Doesn't give me back the years I spent being told I wasn't good enough. Doesn't erase being second choice. I understand. No, you don't. But you will. What does that mean? It means I remember everything. Every dismissal, every time you chose Cameron over me. Every time you said I wasn't leader material. And now I have what you never thought I deserved. I've exceeded everything you built. Everything Cameron could have built. And you don't get credit for it. I earned this. Despite you. Not because of you. I hung up. He never called again. Today, Graves Manufacturing does 120 million in annual revenue. 6 times what it was when I started. We have 200 employees, 4 facilities. clients across the country. I'm 38 years old, worth over 100 million. Self-made, no inheritance, no family money, just strategy, execution, patience. Father is 68, retired in Florida, living off his 16 million, which sounds like a lot. Until you realize I make 20 million per year now in income and equity growth. In 5 years, I've made more than his life's work was worth. Cameron is 43, still at Jensen Manufacturing senior sales manager now. Makes maybe 150,000, lives in a decent house, drives a decent car, has a decent life. Decent. That was what Father thought I'd be. Solid. Nothing special. Cameron recently reached out. Email. Asked if I was hiring. Said he'd be interested in coming back running sales for me. I didn't respond. Last month, Father was diagnosed with cancer. Stage 3. Treatable but serious. Mother called. Asked if I'd come visit, help with medical decisions. I thought about it. Then I said no. Why not, she asked. Because he made his choices. Told me I wasn't good enough, picked Cameron over me. Now he wants my help. He's your father. He's a man who decided my value 33 years before I proved it. Who couldn't see potential, who cared more about tradition than talent. That man doesn't get my time now. Mother cried. Said I was being cruel. Maybe I am. But I'm also being honest. You want to know what's cruel? Being told at 26 that your ceiling is operations manager, that you'll never run your family's company, that your older brother deserves it because he was born first. That's cruel. I built this company despite them, not because of them. I owe them nothing. Mother hung up. I went back to work. 2 weeks later, my assistant interrupted a meeting. Your father's on the line. Says it's urgent. I had her take a message that night. I listened to the voicemail. Ethan, it's your father. I know you don't want to talk to me. I understand. But I need to tell you something. I was wrong. About everything. You were the son who should have gotten the company. You had the vision, the drive, the intelligence. Cameron had charm, but you had substance. I chose wrong. I'm sorry. I'm dying. Doctors give me maybe 2 years. I'd like to see you before I go. Not to ask for anything. Just to tell you that I'm proud. You built something incredible. Something I never could have built. You proved me wrong. And I'm grateful. Because knowing you succeeded makes me believe there was purpose in my failure, that maybe I was supposed to get out of your way so you could do what you were meant to do. Please call me. I love you, son. I listened to it twice. Felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Nothing. Then I deleted it. Went to dinner with my team. Celebrated hitting our quarterly targets. Discussed expansion plans. Looked at facility options in Texas. When I got home, I poured a bourbon. Sat on my deck. Thought about Father's message. He was dying. Wanted forgiveness. Wanted reconciliation. Wanted to believe his failure was purposeful. It wasn't. His failure was just failure. He underestimated me. Chose tradition over merit, and it cost him. Cost him his company, his legacy, his relationship with his most successful son. That wasn't purposeful. It was consequence I didn't call him back. 3 months passed. Mother called again. Your father has weeks, maybe days. He's asking for you. I'll send flowers to the funeral. You're really not coming? No. How can you be so cold? I'm not cold. I'm clear. He had 33 years to believe in me. He chose not to. Now in his final weeks, he wants absolution. Wants to feel good about himself. That's not my job. My job is to run my company. To build my life to succeed on my terms. He made his choices. He lives with them. Or dies with them. Mother hung up without saying goodbye. 2 weeks later, Father died. I received the notice via email. Funeral arrangements attached. I didn't attend. Sent a large flower arrangement. No card. Cameron called me, screaming. You didn't come to Father's funeral? What kind of person are you? The kind who learned that family doesn't mean unconditional loyalty. It means conditional respect. Father didn't respect me. So I don't mourn him. He was our father. He was a man who made choices. Those choices had consequences. I'm one of them. You're heartless. I'm honest. There's a difference. The estate went to probate. Father left everything to Mother. About 12 million after taxes and medical bills. Mother will live comfortably. When she dies, it's split between Cameron and me. 6 million each. I'll probably donate mine to charity. I don't need it. Don't want anything from him, even in death. 6 months after Father's funeral, I received a letter. From his lawyer. Inside was a handwritten note from Father, written before he died. Ethan, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I wanted to write what I couldn't say. You were right about everything. I chose Cameron because of tradition, not merit. I told myself it was about leadership, about charisma. But really it was about fear that if I broke tradition, I'd be judged by my father's memory, by business peers, by family expectations. So I followed the easy path, gave Cameron what he expected, gave you what I thought you deserved, which was less. I was wrong. You were always the better choice, the smarter choice, the one who would have taken this company further than I ever did. But I couldn't see it, or I saw it and couldn't admit it. Either way, I failed you, and I'm sorry. You built something remarkable, something I never could have built. You proved that merit matters more than birth order, that intelligence matters more than charm, that hard work matters more than expectations. I'm proud of you, even if I never said it, even if I never showed it. Please forgive me, not for my sake, for yours, so you can move forward without bitterness, without anger, just success. That's all I ever wanted for you. Success. I just didn't know how to help you get it. Your father. I read it once, folded it carefully, put it in a drawer, closed the drawer, went back to work. Did I forgive him? No. Forgiveness implies debt, implies something owed. Father owed me nothing. I took what I wanted, built what I deserved. His recognition or lack of it doesn't change that. His pride or disappointment doesn't matter. All that matters is what I built. And I built an empire. I'm 38 years old, CEO and sole owner of Graves Manufacturing. 120 million in annual revenue, 100 million in personal wealth, self-made. No inheritance, no lucky breaks, just strategy and execution. People ask me how I did it, how I took a company from my father, how I beat my brother, how I turned 16 million into 100 million. The answer is simple. I stopped waiting for permission, stopped waiting to be chosen, stopped believing that family meant automatic loyalty. I learned that if you want something, you take it. Not aggressively, not illegally, but strategically, with planning, with patience, with precision. I spent 5 years preparing, learning, building relationships, making myself indispensable. When the moment came, I executed perfectly. Father never saw it coming, thought he was making a smart business decision, selling for fair value to his son. He didn't realize his son was taking everything, not just the company, his legacy, Cameron's inheritance, the family name. I took it all, and I don't regret it because they didn't respect me, didn't believe in me, told me I wasn't good enough. So I proved them wrong. Then I moved forward. Without them, that's the lesson. Merit beats tradition. Strategy beats expectation. Action beats hope. If you're second choice, make yourself first. If you're underestimated, become undeniable. If you're told you can't prove, you can. I did. And you can too. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for recognition. Don't wait for someone to give you what you deserve. Take it. Legally, strategically, ruthlessly. That's what I did. That's why I won. My name is Ethan Graves. I'm 38 years old. 5 years ago, I stole my father's company. He never knew what happened until it was too late. By then, I owned everything. And he had nothing but regrets. Some call it revenge. I call it justice. Either way, I sleep perfectly at night. Because I earned everything I have. Despite them. Not because of them. And that's the greatest victory of all.